All right, everybody, you know what time it is? The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now.
Coming up next, it's the Real Talk Sports Show, bringing you great sports talk with perspective. Now, here's our host, Jonathan Simmons.
All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we thank God for all those of you who are watching us here on various platforms like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter TV, and Twitch. And we also want to thank you, those of you who are watching on the replay. Appreciate you for tuning in and just catching us on the archive as well. So we thank you very, very much. Listen, hey, we want to give you a quick tip. If you could please follow us anywhere on social media. We are at Real Talk Sports 7. That's the show itself. You can follow me personally at Minister J Sims as Minister, the letter J SIMM. We would love to have you and connect with you. And remember, go to our YouTube page, subscribe, and then bing, hit that little bell. On YouTube, we're Real Talk Sports TV. I haven't changed it over to Real Talk Sports 7 as of yet. But again, follow us on social media and on YouTube, I should say, and subscribe. We'd appreciate you doing that. Please, ma'am, please, sir, do that for us. And we greatly appreciate you. Any support that you would give our broadcast. All right, guys, anytime we do this show, we like to bring on one of the most beautiful women on sports talk radio or TV. We know her as the Queen. Miss Trae Dolman is back in the building. Welcome back, Trae.
Hey, Jonathan. Hi, everybody.
How you doing?
Doing all right. Blessed. How are you?
Praise the Lord, doing bless myself. We're going to zoom in on the Queen because she's looking ravishing this evening. Very, very nice. In her Christmas colors there. Speaking of Christmas, how was your Christmas?
It was all right. Christmas is always tough for me. I
A little melancholy. I got that. Yes.
miss the love of my life more than words. And that was his favorite holiday and my favorite holiday. And so it's tough, but I'm just blessed to have wonderful friends and family. So it was all right. How was your Christmas?
Yeah, so my Christmas was nice and quiet. The only thing I did visit my brother. He's up, I like to call it in the weeds. He's up there in Loganville. Him and his wife have a lovely house out there, nice property. And they had a brunch for him on Christmas Eve because my brother actually, his birthday is on Christmas Day. And he constantly talks about the fact that he's robbed every year by people kind of, giving him that kind of like, okay, this is a 2-for-1 gift. The other thing that was very interesting, the reason why I had to go out and travel to see him was because it was a very monumental birthday for him. Actually, kind of a monumental birthday for me since he's my younger brother. My younger brother has now turned 60.
Ooh.
And I said to myself, well, if he's my younger brother, he turns 60. Well, anyway, like I said, it was great to see him. Great to be out there and see my nieces and great nephews. And I said my great nieces, they're also grown now. My great niece is 17, very glamorous in high school. So it just was good to see everybody, see his wife. And yeah, that was it. And then hung out with my daughter a little bit on Christmas Day. Well,
Aw.
also, guys, when we do this show, we bring on the Queen. We also bring on the champion. He's not a one, but two-time Super Bowl champion. He also is a member of the Fort Valley State Sports Hall of Fame, and he's an all-around good guy. Mr. Tyrone Poole, number 38, is back in the building. Welcome back, Tyrone.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Miss Trae. Hello, Jonathan. Hello, everybody watching. And listening. Hope everybody's doing well.
Doing good, sir. How was your Christmas day, sir, or Christmas weekend?
I guess you would say every day is Christmas to me.
Praise the Lord.
Every day is Christmas, man. You're always blessed to, um, see another day. I know everybody, Christmas is kind of like commercialized. It's commercial. They basically wanted people to buy stuff and buy stuff. But for those, me particularly, we know the reason for the season. And, I'm just thankful just to be able to celebrate another day. But we all know this time of the year is commercialized. So, but hey, praise be to God. That's the reason why we're here, right?
Hey man, you must have been eavesdropping on my sermonette there, sir. That's kind of what we talked about. What is the real reason for this season?
I know I got
Oh,
my father right here,
Oh,
man.
hold on,
Listen,
let's
I
get
wonder what he was doing.
how was your
there he is.
Christmas?
Kitty
How
pie.
was your Christmas? Look at him, tell him how your Christmas was.
It was good. You licked them chops, baby. It must have
You're
been
so
good.
you
cute.
Must
have
have been
a
good. She
good
was licking them
Christmas.
chops.
You have a good Christmas, boy. You have a good Christmas. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Give me
Now, see, that's love right there, boys and girls, right there.
a kiss. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Well, yeah, like I said, always good stuff. A big weekend for everybody. Lots of football, lots of basketball. We had something unique, guys. For the first time ever, we had both the NBA and the NFL with a full slate of games on Christmas. Now, I don't know. I think the NBA might be feeling some kind of way that the NFL kind of encroached on their territory a little bit there. But yeah, lots of sports. If you're a sports fan, you can just lock it down and just hang out. I know there were some wives that might have been a little bit irritated that their husband is kind of was drifting out of the picture for most of Christmas Day. But yeah, big stuff there. As like I said again, a bunch of games played, and that's on top of the bowl games are going on as well. So yeah, big sports weekend. So
You know, let's just face it. Let's say this. Basketball and football, man. Let's be real now. Let's be real. Let's be
oh, here we
honest.
go. Here we go.
Which one brings in the most money? And also, football just feel like they can debo any other sport.
They
American
surely do,
football
bro.
they can debo any other sport. They probably can. The people that I talk to, they say they are the saddest. Once the Super Bowl is over, they say they are the sad. They go into depression. You don't hear nobody saying about basketball. I'm
Wow.
going to depression.
Oh.
So when the football season ends, boy, people like, man, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with myself? I don't know what to do.
I'm one of those people. But at least we still have the NBA until the NBA is over. But I do get sad every year after Super Bowl.
Tyrone throwing some shade on the NBA, so
That
nobody
ain't
missing
no
them.
shade.
Yeah.
How's that shade when that's true? Go look at the numbers. The money don't lie. How's that throwing shade? That shit throwing truth.
Hey man, listen, the NFL a bunch of bullies. They should step back. They can't come on every day of the week. Come on now, step back,
That's
take
true.
it
They
easy.
have taken over.
I mean,
They
they're
have
trying to come on
taken
every day.
over every day.
Think about it. They were on they were on Sunday. They're on Monday. They come on Thursday. They did a Saturday game. That's like the whole 4-day weekend. They're like, yeah, we on every day. How you like us now? So NFL kind of, take it easy, y'all. Take it easy. All right. Let's look at some of the topics for today. All right. If you guys have any hot topic at open mic, so anybody wants to jump in, say anything on social media, if you guys want to jump into the picture, you got something you want to throw up there, you want to talk about, go
I
right
got
ahead.
I got one.
Let's go.
Ed Reed just got picked up as the head coach for Bethune-Cookman.
Oh, that's big news.
Yeah, Ed
That
Reed.
is huge news.
Yeah, so I think he's gonna, reproduce what Dion did. I think he probably being in Florida, that's where he
Oh,
from.
yeah.
He should get a lot of great support there. So, but can he coach? Can he? I think what made Dion so good, Dion was a salesman. He was a salesman. I don't know if Ed Reed is that type of guy. Ed may be an X's and O's guy. I'm not saying Dion wasn't an X's and O's guy. He wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame and have all those jackets if he didn't understand the game. But I think Dion's strength was his ability to market it. Like I remember him saying when he was in college, he said that he always carried around a quote book. Like he always had quotes. He said when they come up and interview him, he said he's already rehearsed that quote all week. So Dion great at selling. So Can Ed Reed do that at Bethune-Cookman?
Well, one thing you hit on the head, man. Ed Reed knows his football. You know that clip is now becoming a semi-classic clip that's been going around when they did the NFL top 100 players and coaches, and that famous clip where Bill Belichick talking about Ed Reed basically kind of faking out Peyton Manning, and Peyton, on the sideline talking about what did Ed do, and Ed basically said, "I watched the film of this guy, so I baited him." He said, "I made him think I was going to do the same thing I always do." And as soon as I saw him, I just turned and ran and made the interception. So, I mean, clearly, and Belichick was like, man, it's one of the greatest plays I've ever seen. So you're right. The guy knows the X and O's.
Hey, I want to know, why do I look like Kevin Hart over here?
How you look, what?
Why do I look like Kevin Hart? Why am I the lowest?
I mean, Tyrone, I mean, I don't know, bro. What you got? You Let's send a high chair over there for you, bro. I don't know.
Everybody else, you and Trae were head to head, and I was down. Like, come on, man.
Let me check it out. You mean like this?
You
that
gotta
shot?
lift your camera.
You gotta get a little closer like this. Get your head in close.
Yeah.
Get your head in close.
Yeah.
Hey, man, listen. Kevin Hart making a lot of money, bro. So I mean, if you got to imitate anybody, bro, that man is making lots of dinero. Yeah, so that's a big thing, and I think that that's now you have him. You had a situation where what's that guy from the Titans is over at Tennessee State? I'm drawing a blank now. Eddie George is there, and then we also have a former NFL head coach over, I believe, at Grambling. Probably wrong on that. Anyway, the guy that coaches.
Head coach, Hugh Jackson.
Hugh Jackson. So at the end of the day, I mean, we got some firepower there, and I'm thinking and hoping at least that you're going to start to see, actually not start to see, continue to see that build up. And really what I'd like to see, man, somebody kind of put together some type of, like, if they could, I don't know what you want to call it, a fund where you could have money available to help, again, build the stadiums up and build the facilities, have some money around to maybe help the schools pay these better coaches to come. And then to, have somebody really in your marketing team to really get more corporate sponsorship.
Man, don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on HBCU. I love my HBCUs, man, but let's change the subject.
Right. So, but no, listen.
I concur.
You're gonna make me say something. Let's change the subject, man.
Hey, can I tell you something? This is what we're gonna do, because I'm tired of, like you as you mentioned to me from time to time, Tyrone. You said, "Dude, how you gonna call it the Real Talk Sports Show and don't get these real issues?" We're gonna do an HBCU segment. I'm gonna bring some of the guys I met from around the country that cover HBCUs all the time. Some of them I'm sure that you may know, and we're gonna chop this thing up, man. Because I really just believe it only takes a handful of people to put this thing together, man, and promote this right, and you really can do this. It's not like it's impossible. I think about, now again, it's an entirely different context, so I don't want to, but it's possible. When Dr. King's papers were going to be up for sale, and there was some thought that it might lead the King family, Shirley Franklin I think she had just left as the mayorship here in Atlanta. She got on the phone, made the calls, connected with people, and within about 2 weeks, they were able to raise, in terms of cash money and in terms of pledges, $33 million in about 2 weeks. Now, again, I know we're talking about Dr. King's papers, but I'm saying at the end of the day, if it's the right idea and you have the right person pitching it, man, you can raise the money. It's out there.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. But everybody know the tree can only grow when it's in the right soil. So what I mean by that is, not all HBCUs, but there's some HBCUs where, just like on teams, they say, why is the team not winning? They got all the talent on the team. They got everything they need. They got ice tubs. They got coaches. They got fast players. They got 30 players on the team out of 53 guys that can run 4.3 40s. Why are they not winning? It's the doggone ownership. That's why they're not winning. They ain't got nothing to do with the talent. It's the ownership. Change the ownership and your team will start winning. We talk about talk about Detroit, all right? I don't know how sure it is, I'm just going off of what I hear. But they say the Ford family holding Detroit Lions back. Now, I don't know if that's to be true. That's just, what I hear. But again, everything starts with management. I don't care. Even this show right here, It's management. If you want to be great, you can have the talent, but it's management. I'm just making an example here. I'm just making an example. But everything starts with management, man. Who's managing who? That's where the buck stops, man. So okay, you bring in $50 million, $50 billion. If you ain't got the right people there, man, you still ain't gonna do good.
Well, there you go. Well, listen, guys, we're going to come back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be back in just a moment.
I like that outro, man.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice.
All right, guys, we're back with the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons. And popping and popping right beneath us there is the main man, number 38, Tyrone Poole, and the Queen is all in the building, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. And we want to give a big shout out to those of you who are listening only on WIGO. Actually, excuse me, let me get straight. It's legendary WIGO, Pace Setter 1570 AM under brand new ownership. Black-owned, female-owned, Sheila Brown in the building. Matter of fact, her son, one son is a graduate of Morehouse. The other one still goes there, so big shout out for her. She has totally renovated the station and brought back the vibe and the flavor of the legendary WIGO. Let's go back to social media. Todd thinks that Tyrone needs a Snickers because he's pretty pumped up. My man. Always look for Todd.
He said about Oprah's we have put up.
Oh, yeah, so yeah, he said he made the comment, why don't Oprah and Jay-Z pay? They will not contribute. So I'm not sure how true that is. I know Oprah.
I will say that I think a lot of people would be surprised to find out how much people actually do donate. They just don't publicize it.
No, and you're probably right. I mean, at the end of the day, see, for me, I'm sure there's a lot of donation that goes on. In this conversation I've had with several guys that are HBCU graduates and so forth. And to me, one of the problems I just see is the money not being allocated properly. Now, I had a young lady go back and forth with me, and she said, oh, yeah, well, Jonathan, sometimes the schools have to survive. I'm like, well, I get that, but what happened?
I'm trying so hard not to say something. So like Tyrone said, can we change the subject? Please.
Okay. We'll
talking about money and HBCUs. I don't think that's a conversation that really.
It's Christmas time. Christmas time is here. Spreading merry cheer. We'll get off the subject now and go to somewhere else. All right, that's it. That's enough. My two calls that said we tie that. We're gonna beat the brakes off and we're gonna go off the rails if we don't. We'll save that for another show next year. We'll do that sometime probably in the month of February. We're going to do a whole HBCU show and really kind of talk about not only kind of some of the things that are going on, but what we can do to make it better. All right, let's shift gears here and talk a little NBA, the NBA. Let's talk a little bit about that. Stuff is going on back here in our backyard. We're now moving into the end of the first half of the season. Celtics look like the best team in the league. Who else do you guys think should be in the top 5? I saw Celtics play Milwaukee and they beat the brakes off them. And they look like, Jason Tatum once again looks like he's going to be a candidate for MVP. And they got Jaylen Brown, a hometown hero right here from Atlanta. They look tough. What do you guys think?
Definitely think the Celtics are smoking everybody right now. I'm not really sure about top 5. There's just so much going on. And I'm really disappointed in how the Warriors are playing right now, waiting for them to find their jug or whatever their so that they can start gelling as a team. But I think after NBA All-Star break, it's going to be a lot of teams fighting to get in those play-in games, and everybody's rooting for home court advantage. And then of course we have the Atlanta Hawks, who I'm rooting for and wanting to see them do well. I know that my Pistons are out, especially now that Cade Cunningham is out for the rest of the season. They still play hard, but we just need more. And but the Celtics are just destroying everybody and just showing them why they are the top shooting team and in first place right now.
Tyrone, what do you think? Looking at some of the NBA teams, Celtics look like they can't be stopped. And you have a couple other teams you think, hey, you need to watch out for these guys.
Yeah, just looking at, everybody has their different power rankings and everything. And right now, the Celtics, of course, 24-10, 24 wins, 10 losses. They're the number one, probably on majority of everyone's power rankings. And then, you have the Denver Nuggets. You have the Denver Nuggets, and then you're looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers. All right, who needs LeBron, right? That's what they're saying up in Cleveland. Then you got the Bucks, 22-11. And the Pelicans, that's the top five teams, so to speak, in power rankings. And everybody's power rankings is going to be different. And you look and you keep scrolling, and you're looking for the Hawks. Where are the Hawks? I'm still looking for Trae Young. I'm still looking for somebody. Where are they? And Tree mentioned the Golden State Warriors. Like she said, she disappointed in them. And I can say about the Warriors, you can only, win for so long, and then eventually start rebuilding. But they're sitting at 16-18, 16 wins, 18 losses, and power ranking of 16. And then right behind them are the Atlanta Hawks, 17-16. So they're
Got a little frozen screen there on Tyrone. Not sure what happened. There he is. He's back. There we go.
Yeah. So again, everybody is going to have their different sources of power rankings, and my power rankings that I'm getting mine from is coming basically from Sports Illustrated. So again, the season is not quite over, but still you don't want to be too far behind because you're just going to make it tougher for yourself to catch up. But right now, the Celtics, with all the controversy, they still, trying to win up in Boston. So it just says how much talent they have on their team.
Yeah, so just to look,
joy to watch.
you're right. I mean, the ball movement, they can shoot from the outside, they can cut and slash, good rebounding, and Al Horford continues to just ball out, almost like as a six man. Guys, 3-point shooting is off the charts, clutch play in big games. Yeah, they just have a well-rounded team. If you look really at this East, the Hawks are going to really have some trouble because if looking at these East standings right now, the Hawks are all the way down in 7th place. Celtics, obviously ahead of everybody, 24-10. Bucks, 22-11. And here's the sleeper team. Everybody's been sleeping on them because of Kyrie's controversy, but the Nets, red hot, have won 9 straight. They are now 22-12, just 2 games out of first place. Tyrone, you mentioned the Cavaliers at 22-13. Sixers, Joel Embiid, another guy battling for the MVP, has already put up 250-point plus games this year, 20-12. Knicks, ironically, are a half game ahead of the Hawks at 18-16, and the Hawks are right behind them at 17-16. The Pacers at 17-17, and the Hawks trying to get over that it's like baseball, that Mendoza line. They're trying to get into that 6th spot and not have to have that playing game. So it's going to be very, very interesting. All right, Todd is saying, hey, Preacher, I called it the first week of the season. Hawks don't have leadership. I was called a hater. The Preacher even put his sunglasses on. It was the truth. Time to trade Trae.
Ooh.
Well, I will tell you guys, in the last couple of days, there's been a lot of buzz around the NBA rumor mill of Trae possibly trying to force the Hawks to trade him if the Hawks can't make a deep run into the playoffs, because clearly there's some kind of disconnect in that locker room. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but something is going on with Trae and Coach Nate, and it's not good.
No.
Yeah, they got a what I call a situation. And it's like I said, I don't understand what happened. I know the first 4 games they were playing some inferior quality opponents, but I mean, especially that first game, they just came out of the shoot. They were doing everything that they need to do to win. They were moving the ball around. They made sure that John Collins got at least double-digit touches in terms of shooting, because it's been shown in terms of the Hawks record when he gets at least 12 shots, the Hawks have an outstanding winning record. But after those first 4 games, it looked like they just forgot how to play with one another, and it's been a lot of dribble. And here's the thing: what's causing people to talk about Trae being traded. I'll be honest with you. There are a couple of games that when Trae has been out for an extended period of time or he did not play, the Hawks actually look more fluid on offense. And that's the other reason why it's causing all this kind of, chatter. But at the end of the day, it goes back to this. The guy is a multi-time all-star. And I'm thinking if you do trade him, what are you going to get for him in return? And then if you do trade him, what you have
Well,
to do,
I'm hearing that he's the one requesting the trade, not the
well, I'm,
Hawks
yeah,
wanting to trade him.
well, that's what I mean. But what I mean by that is whether he's instigating the situation or the Hawks do. If the Hawks are even forced to trade him, that's worse because then other teams know, hey, you know, this guy want to get out of here. So we're not going to give them maybe all that we would if he did not. But if they do that, it would really be a shame because in essence, what they would have done is have wasted basically a lottery pick and wasted the opportunity to have a all-star for a decade. Unless they get, I don't know what they could get back in return, but because it would have meant that they traded Luka Doncic, who right now, looks like he's going to probably rack up over his career a couple MVPs. They got rid of a disgruntled Cam Reddish and now possibly a disgruntled Trae Young. It just, if that happens, this would be a colossal, colossal blunder by all parties involved in Hawks
You know,
management.
you mentioned Al Horford. Al Horford, he's doing well with the Celtics. So I don't know. Maybe, maybe that's a formula right there. Once you become a former Hawk, maybe you go to winning. I don't know. I'm just joking. I don't know. But hey, regardless, if you're the Hawks, you got to keep your key players here, man. How you gonna win without having and building a firm foundation of players? Just like we talked about the Celtics. They go through all of the drama and all of whatever transpired up there with their head coach, and they still winning. Why? Because they got talent. They got talent. So if you're gonna win, you have to assemble talent, man. So you got to ask yourself: are you just trying to sell tickets, or are you trying to win championships? So if
Yes.
you win championships, you got to keep players in. You got to bring the right players in, man.
Yeah, which means they can't and they don't need to and they should not trade Trae. Period.
Yeah, they're just going to have to find a way to get along. I mean, this is just, I mean, it's just, that it's just amazing to me how this team went from being a team that we all thought was a player or two away from being a championship contender to now having fallen off the edge of the cliff. And a lot of it is just, they've destroyed the chemistry of the team. I understand that there were some financial constraints. That's why they got rid of Kevin Huter. I understand that, John Collins, might have slightly overpaid for him. But yeah, they're just,
I don't think so.
say it again.
I don't think they slightly overpaid for John Collins.
I didn't know that's your boy right there. Yeah, we not. She said, "Give him that money."
Well, he earned the money.
Look, I'm not you now. You know me. I'm a big fan of the guy because he's always been to me a stand-up guy, and to me, I always didn't like the fact when people are willing to sacrifice. Everybody can talk about being a team player, but John Collins really, really, really put that in the real context because basically they took him away from his primary game, which is the pick and roll, gave it to another guy. And they say, hey, we need you to kind of upgrade your shooting. We need to upgrade your dribbling, which I get. You all want to do that. So I said, that's why Al Horford's still in the league. But I'm saying at the end of the day, this guy was an over the rim player, and you kind of moved him totally away from that game. And to his credit, his numbers fell off a little bit, but he still put up some decent numbers until he kind of got banged up a little bit. And like I said, the chemistry went. So I'm not mad at the guy, but in terms of the stats he's producing, most people say the Hawks, and I did put the emphasis, slightly overpaid him for what
I
he
get
does.
that. Most people, in my opinion, are wrong because I don't think he's slightly overpaid. You can't always just look at stats and numbers to see what somebody brings to the team. That's just like if you look at the Golden State Warriors, and a lot of people may look at Draymond Green. His stats, you would look at his stats and say, well, why do they need to keep him? He doesn't produce. But if you watch the game, you will see why he is such a big key to them winning championships and such a big key to Steph shooting great shots, Clay shooting great shots. So some things aren't shown on the stat sheet. And I think that that's the case with John Collins. So this is just my opinion. I would disagree that he's slightly overpaid. I think that he earned his money. He was playing his tail off. He does a great job when he goes out there, team chemistry, so many things that he does on the court, blocking shots, playing defense that changes momentum and helps the game. And some of those things just aren't shown on the stat sheet. So in my opinion, again, this is just me. I realize that people may not feel the same way that I do, but I do not think that he's overpaid. Is he having a rough time right now with scoring? Yes, but I think that it will come back. He was out being injured and going through things with ankles, and we know that ankle injuries, those are serious, and when you're coming back, so it takes some time to get comfortable and start jumping in the air and doing all that stuff again. But I think that the Hawks will see, which I hear he's also in trade rumors again.
Always.
Surprising, but right. But if he does stay, I think that the Hawks will be happy that they kept him, and they'll see the great player that he is and the things that he brings to the team that, again, do not show up on a stat sheet.
And
We're gonna find out.
put
Go ahead.
this in behind Treat. I agree with what Treat is saying, and I'm gonna actually put it in a perspective where everybody can actually put this glass slipper on themselves. Okay, I know sometimes they look at professional athletes and they look at the money, and that basically is what makes people come to their conclusions. But I'm going to put it. The glass slipper fits everybody. So anybody watching this show right now, put yourself. Okay, what if you go to work? You got the flu. You got the flu. You go in there, you feeling weak, but you still go to work. You still go to work, and you're normally producing 10 boxes of whatever a day, but because you got the flu, you come in, you only producing 4 or 5 boxes. Now, should people around say, you know what, you're not worth working here? You should be fired. You're no good. So again, like Tree saying, I'm just saying, basically, you look at a person's overall performance, man. Okay, there are times that people gonna have up and downs. We get sick, we get colds, flus, whatever, and you don't produce like you should. And like Tree said, that eventually it's gonna come back around. Just like a baseball player, they go into a slump, man. They go into a slump. Okay, life is a roller coaster ride. And I think sometimes these people, fans, so-called fans, they need to take a look. And when they point the finger at the athlete, they need to break it down to a point where they can make the glass slipper fit them as well. And I promise you, if you could do that, you won't be pointing your fingers. You'll be pointing the knuckle instead, because the knuckle will point at the person, but the finger points back at you. Put yourself in that same boat, but just a different, perspective in life. So, I just want to say that, but it's unfortunate that athletes go through situations, and fans gonna talk. But like I said, everybody look at your job. What if you came in not producing on your job? Does that mean you're not a good box packer or a good whatever? No, you just not feeling well that day. But in sports, it's dog years. It's dog years. Everything got to happen right now. So that's just my perspective.
Or if you're in the auto business like me, baby, it's like, what have you done for me lately? I can assure you, sir, if I go a week without selling the car, I will get my toe up immediately. Simmons, what's wrong with you, Simmons? You ain't sold a car this week? What are you doing? But anyway, all that being said, it's like this. I mean, I can say I have no problem with John Collins. I'm not asking for the guy to be traded. I'm asking for Trae to be traded. The guy's an all-star. They just need to get that chemistry together, man, because you can't tell me that they can't do it. The team 2 years ago was literally the darling of the league. I know they caught people by surprise, but the energy was different. The camaraderie was different. And as Trae mentioned it last year, they were seemingly having more fun. So somehow, some way, the fun police need to get over there and straighten everybody out. Now, I don't understand it's a business, but you got to enjoy what you're doing.
But that's my point, too, Jonathan. That's my point too. You made a perfect example when you said if you didn't sell cars, they would get rid of you. Okay, but they haven't gotten rid of you. I'm pretty sure you've gone some time you did not sell no cars. All right, but they kept you around because they knew you were talented enough to sell cars. You just having a down whatever. Maybe the economy is affecting people coming in selling cars. So it's the same thing like you just said with the Hawks. Chemistry, man, they got to find some kind of way to get the chemistry back because the talent is there. So you don't need to get rid of talent. You need to find out what is the problem. Okay, we won last year with the same group of guys. What's going on? Everybody still got the same talent, so it has to be something else there.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Well, I think that. Go ahead, Tree.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask if you could put the comment back up, but go ahead.
We're going to take a little break, and I'll tell you why they let me go. They said the preacher's a cool man in his shade. I'm just saying. All right, guys, stay tuned for more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment. Don't go nowhere. Thank you.
Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net.
Coming up next, it's the Real Talk Sports Show, bringing you great sports talk with perspective. Now, here's our host, Jonathan Simmons.
All right, guys, we are back here with the Real Talk Sports Show, second half about to begin. We appreciate all those of you, again, who are tuning in to us, and especially want to give a big shout out. Thanks to those of you who are listening to us on the replay or on demand on places like the Tiki Live and the Phoenix Entertainment Group channel on Roku. That's right. You can even watch us on Roku on the big screens. We appreciate all those of you who are doing that. Let's go to our comments real quick before we shift gears and get into some football. Todd had mentioned before about Coach Nate and Trae. He said the two dudes, Trae and Nate. I don't know if it's true. It means Trae. Nate seems to be like a guy you can have a beer with, level-headed. Trae would have his sunglasses on and be shimmying. And then he said, I don't know what he meant by Tyrone. Didn't make no sense. I don't know what he meant by that one. But yeah, so I don't know what to make on that. I guess he's saying maybe one guy's more down to earth. I think maybe Todd might be hating because Trae just bought that nice mansion out in LA. Maybe that's what he's feeling, that Trae is going to Hollywood. I don't see that. I see a young man that works hard, a guy that gets out on the court and takes, really, people really don't know the kind of beating this guy takes because he's not really a big guy. And when he goes into the paint, especially as Tyrone, you pointed out last week, they are calling the game differently. They're not giving him a lot of those continuation fouls. And this guy, he's all in. Plays when he's injured. I know he had that little spat before, but I got no problem with the guy. You look at his numbers, look at what he's done. He's amongst the NBA leaders in scoring and assists every year, pretty much since he's been in the league. The biggest problem is
the only player averaging 25 points and 10 assists.
Yeah, and the other thing about him is that really the big difference is this year, if you look at it, Trae's shooting is off by about 10% from what he normally is at. His three-point shooting is down from a high of around 37%. He's down at 31% this year, and his overall shooting percentage is normally up around 46 or 47. This year's at 41. So the guy is just, right now he just, especially in that the stretch before this last couple of games, he looked more like himself. But in the stretch before that, like about a 15-game stretch, he just hasn't been shooting well. So, if he can start shooting well, a lot of this will go away. I'm just saying.
Well, so I don't look at it that way. You can't just look at stats and say, well, last year he was shooting this year he's shooting that, and think that it's him. People have to look at everything. You have to look at the total picture. So why has his shooting percentage gone down? Why has his game changed some? A big part of that is because DeJounte is here. So you have to realize and look at the different pieces of what's happening. And so that's taken some pressure off of Trae. So he doesn't have to shoot as much. He doesn't have to do as much because he has DJ there. So I think that's a big part of what we're seeing in some of his numbers. And that, again, just my opinion, may not be the case, but that's what I see. I just noticed once DJ came, it's less work that Trae has to do. So he doesn't have to be all of what he was last year because he has more help now with DJ being here.
That's a good point, Shree.
Yeah, no, I'm not questioning his role. I'm just saying that I'm looking at percentage-wise, not necessarily the number of points, and just his shooting percentage. He hasn't been shooting well, and even he said the same thing. He said, "Hey, look, I've been down this road before, and like you guys said earlier, it's like a baseball player gets into a slump. He has to go back to basics, but it's just taking a little bit longer than I think that anybody would have anticipated. He's had slumps throughout his career, 4 or 5 games, and he's back on point. But this year, like I said, his shooting just is the what I mean by the numbers is it's not the that he's taking less shots. It's that he's not hitting as many shots.
Right.
You
I know what a percentage means. I know what you're saying.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. I mean, just for me, that's really the thing. If he's shooting at the same percentage that he was in this last 2 years, especially, the Hawks would have a much better record. I mean,
But you do realize that when you're not shooting as much, and because you're not as in control as he was, your percentage is naturally going to drop. It's just like when a player is in the game, they're warm. So you're going to shoot more shots. And then when you go to the bench, you come back in, you get cold. It takes time for you to warm back up. So I'm just saying that in the sense of with DJ being there and taking a big load off of what he used to do, he's not as hot as he was. That's why his percentage would normally drop to me. And so I see that being the reason for his percentage being slightly lower. It's not even dramatically lower. It's just slightly lower.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it is.
And it's amazing how you can compare two sports and you get opposite effects, right? Football and basketball. All right. In football, if you take away carries, you increase productivity. In basketball, like Trae is saying, if you take away the shots, then you decrease, I think, like Trae is saying, the percentages of you to find your rhythm, in shooting that ball. So if, everybody has to spread the wealth around, so to speak. But if you're not that guy, if you're taking 30 shots a game and now you're down to 20 shots, then he got to get used to taking those 20 shots. So that's why I said, two sports, they're like contradictory of one another. One sport, football, you take away less carries, you increase productivity. And as a running back, so to speak. All right. In basketball, you take away the shots, then it's almost like you got to find your new rhythm within those 20 shots you're now taking. So I don't know. That's just my philosophy, but I like what Trae was saying.
Okay, all right. I can look at some of that. Like you said, the numbers when I looked at them, it just didn't say that. That's kind of what made me think that. I looked at his numbers like from last year. It says last year he averaged 34.9 minutes a game. Now I understand the number of touches, so I haven't done that yet. But yeah, he was at 34.9 minutes a game. This year he's at 35 minutes a game. Last year he averaged 28.4 points a game. He was 46% field goal shooting and 38% three-point shooting. So let me just take a look at what he did this year, and then we'll hop into some football. Let's take a look here and see here what we got. So what I say, he was taking about 20 shots a game. And this year, he's actually attempting about the same. He's actually at 21 shots a game. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's he's not getting the ball in the same position. Maybe, Tree, like you said, is because he's not handling the ball when he's getting the shot off. I don't know, but there's some kind of disconnect. Now, some people are saying it was sabotage because he spent some time with Seth Curry, and they said Curry done jacked his game up. I really don't know, but we'll see. Okay, Preacher, did Mr. Wilkins ever buy a home $20 million in L.A. while Atlanta? Trae, I guess he's talking about his wife, wants Hollywood. The new marriage has ruined him. Hello. Yeah, I'm not going to respond to that, Todd. I mean, the guy, he's got a young child coming. I mean, I don't
He has
know.
a young child here.
I'm sorry. So, I mean, I don't know if his wife wanted to move to LA or not. I really don't know. All I know is that this team needs chemistry and they need some better shooting by the whole team. I can't just blame Trae because really the team in general is not shooting well. DeJounte has had his games. It's just we need better shooting. I think we do that would solve a lot of problems. All right. Let us now shift to college football.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Go ahead.
5 seconds. So
Yes.
I know you're comparing last year to this year. Last year was an entire season. This year we're still at the beginning of the season. So the numbers aren't quite compared at that point. That's just what I wanted to bring up. But okay, now let's shift.
Okay. There we go. All right, let's now shift to some college football. All right, we're down to the top 4 teams. We got a semifinal game right here in Atlanta, Georgia, the Peach Bowl. Georgia playing against Ohio State. And then we have, of course, On the other side of the country, we have the Michiganders, the Blue and Maize, squaring off against the Purple Horned Frogs of TCU. All right. Who do you guys pick and why? Tree, I'm gonna go to you first. Who you picking those two games? I
I
don't even know
think
if that.
everybody knows who I'm picking. In the first game, of course, I'm going with the Maize and Blue, the one and only Michigan. And I think that TSU is a good team. We know that they are. And I think that Michigan definitely cannot take them for granted. We have to go in there and play strong. But I just think Michigan is definitely much more on offense and defense than what TCU is ready to handle. So I see Michigan winning that first game. And then when we head over to Georgia and Ohio State University, I'm picking Ohio State because I'm going for the Big Ten. I think that Georgia and Ohio State game will be a very close one. And I see Ohio State barely pulling it out with a field goal at the end, winning by 3. But I think it will be a very close game. I just really think that Ohio State is going to bring some vengeance down on Georgia that they're not really ready for.
Ooh. Saying Georgia, that's smoke. All right, Tyrone, what do you think? Michigan, TCU.
It's a no-brainer. TCU and Michigan. I'm going with TCU. No, I'm in Michigan.
I'm about to say no.
I'm going with Michigan. I'll go with Michigan. But the Ohio State Georgia game, I think that's going to be the game. I think Georgia actually playing in Georgia. I'm like a home game for them, so I'm pretty sure them Bulldog fans gonna pack the house, man, and that alone gonna give Georgia a little spurt, a little bit of energy, a little bit of mojo, as Austin Powers would say, to kind of get them going in the first quarter, and hopefully they can get out to a good lead because Georgia got a pretty good defense. But again, the defense is only as good as your offense. So if the offense don't keep the defense out the field, then it may be could go to Ohio State. But that's going to be the game right there that I can't wait to see. Ohio State and Georgia. TCU, wish them good luck, but I don't think they're going to be able to handle Michigan.
Yeah, I got to agree with that. I think that TCU, the one wild card is their quarterback. That guy is he has shown to be clutch. He has single-handedly kept them in the games, but I think that Michigan's got too much running attack and too much defense. Their defense is really underrated. I think people don't know how good they are. So I think that Michigan should be able to win that one easily. Ohio State and Georgia, I got to pick Georgia Bulldogs. But I do think the game is going to be close, and I think that Ohio State could really win the game because they have a strength where the Bulldogs are weak. They have a good passing offense, and they got some players that can take you deep on big plays. And the one flaw that I've seen consistently over the past couple of years with that Georgia defense is that if they can't get to that quarterback, that defensive backfield is okay, but they're not as stout as that front seven. So I'm picking Georgia and Michigan for the rematch from last year, and after that, well, the chips fall where they may. But yeah, I'm picking Georgia to win a narrow victory over Ohio State, and some of it because of the fact they are at home, and I think they can control the clock enough with their offense to keep that high power offense of Ohio State off the field. Speaking of Georgia Bulldogs, the lovely Miss Monica Kabler, former homecoming queen at Georgia, also a two-time NCAA track star for the University of Georgia. She said, "Go Dogs."
Like Tyrone said, the fans will come out. Georgia fans, they always show up and show out for their team.
And I as well. I think the key also in my mind would be how much zone blitzing Georgia can put in their defense, because you can zone blitz and actually put pressure on the quarterback without really exposing your secondary, so to speak. They can play some cover 3 and keep people deep and play underneath. So that would probably be good, but I don't know how much zone blitzing Georgia has in their defense, because if you do have a team that throws the ball, if they're not used to seeing zone blitzing, then because you got to be able to identify as a quarterback where that blitz is coming from. And if you can't do that, then you're going to throw the ball into the blitz coverage, and, you don't want that. So it's going to be interesting to see the game plan for the Bulldogs against Ohio State.
And Ms. Kabler is agreeing with you 100% that the Dogs need to do something a little different to offset that firepower of the Ohio State offense. Yeah, I mean, it should be must see TV. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to maybe meet some of the young Chargers. I don't know if the starters going to be there tomorrow, but it is the official uh, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl gospel breakfast that the FCA puts on every year. They will be there out at the Marriott Marquis early in the morning. So hopefully I'll be able to get down there and break some bread. And now I don't know if you played with this guy or not. Did you play with Ben Watson, Tyrone?
Yeah, we
Yep.
played. Yeah, yeah. I remember being came out, and I think 2003 he came out from Georgia. Yeah,
Okay.
he was part of. It was 2004. It was 2003 or 2004 when Ben came to New England. So yeah, Ben could run, man. Ben was fast for a tight end. He's
Yeah,
fast.
big guy, big and quick. You right. You
Yeah,
right.
you get him on that backside. You know they have slot to one side and the tight end and nub side, and they would put Ben as that tight end nub. He was almost like Shannon Sharp. Antonio Gates. You just knew those guys were gonna go deep. They were going vertical. So yeah, so just check for run and then just start getting back deep because he running something deep.
Well, he'll be one of the guest speakers tomorrow. So so hopefully catch up with him. And yeah, just always good stuff. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes, they're always just part of the Peach Bowl tradition where they bring players from both teams. And but I don't know what he's talking about here. He says, Tosh says, will Buster coaching the game? Who's he talking about there?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
But I do want to say just to all of the high schoolers or freshmen in college or anybody at any age in college and you're an athlete, definitely if you're a Christian, I would definitely encourage you to check out the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I was a member and participated and was a part of it my entire time being in college and being a collegiate athlete, and it was just phenomenal. So I encourage you to look into it. And I think that you will love it and have a wonderful opportunity. Just look at this event that Jonathan's talking about. They're always doing positive things and bringing God into it.
Yeah, no doubt. They do a phenomenal job. I've seen them up close and personal. They have this breakfast. You get a chance to obviously hear great speakers, get a chance to see some guys you might be on the gridiron with later, and maybe get some good advice. And I think it's just a cool thing to have these young guys out here that come out because they do, in fact, Tree invite several high school players to come on out and partake in this. And even some of the parents, I think, come out, some of the coaches from some of the various schools. So, yeah, definitely good stuff. And they have just like a huge camp out at West Georgia every year where I think they have something like 25 teams come out there and for a weekend of football, but fellowship. I think a couple of years ago they had, I think, 100 guys got saved at the weekend. So yeah, definitely great stuff. And coaches around Metro Atlanta have talked about how it impacted their team, not only on the field or on the court, but off the court as well. Seeing young men that have been kind of in some trouble, lives completely turned around. So yeah, definitely good stuff by the folks at the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Well, guys, we want to shift now into the NFL. A lot of stuff still going on in the NFL. Of course, the Falcons, they be out. So,
Oui.
well, they're out of the playoffs. Now they're out of there. Before we get into that, I want to do a quick tribute to Franco Harris, a guy I grew up watching as a young guy. Franco, age 72. I think, Tree, you've met him on several occasions at the Hall of Fame events. Just really, I met him, I think, once. I think it was a couple Super Bowls ago. Just a nice guy.
Just super, super nice guy. When I found out, yeah, that one messed me up. He just always so kind, genuine, and he was at the Pro Football Hall of Fame this year and got to see him. And again, just always just a very nice and kind guy. This definitely breaks my heart, and my prayers and condolences to his family and his widow.
Yeah, very much so. I'm very sad at the timing when they were just about, I think, to retire his number, if I'm not mistaken. And it was the anniversary. I can't believe it's been 50 years since the legendary Immaculate Reception, which put him into the minds of hearts of football fans. I just think fans, sports fans everywhere, with that spectacular way that he grabbed that ball just inches off the turf and took his Steelers into a win. So just great stuff. Great stuff. Well, as we continue to talk NFL, guys, we always like to bring in a guy who's an expert. He is the embedded beat writer for the Falcons for AJC Sports. And he is Esquire par excellence and an award winning sports writer. The one and only D. Orlando Ledbetter is in the building. D. Led, welcome back, sir.
Welcome. Thanks for having me, Reverend, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to Miss Tree and Brother Tyrone.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, D-Led.
Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, and Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, all that kind of good stuff. We shout out all of them. D-Led, your thoughts about the late Franco Harris?
Well, I grew up in Cleveland, and he kind of ruined my childhood. So, not a real big Steeler fan, but but yeah, everything I heard about him, he's a kind man. Certainly helped to revive that franchise, and I like to shine a light on the fact that Bill Nunn, his scouting for the Steelers really put them over the hump. He made the catch there. But Bill Nunn, who recruited all of the HBCUs for the Steelers, that 78 Steeler team's got like 21 guys from HBCUs on it. And Bill Nunn, who went into the Hall this last year, was one of the architects of that Steeler team. But yeah, great running back. Him, Rocky Blyer, and John Fuqua, were quite the backfield. You had Starworth and Swan outside and Terry Bradshaw at quarterback. But yeah, that was a time when the Steelers were beating up on the Browns kind of regularly. And, that wasn't a real pleasant memory for me, watching him running down the field and steamrolling Tom Darden and some of our other fine defensive backs for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, no doubt. Like you said, the guy he had that run, man, for about 8 or 9 years. He just was the penultimate back. He'd do anything. He'd catch out the backfield. A lot of people don't really know that because they talk about Rocky Blauer a lot, but was a good guy coming out of the backfield, catching passes, a great runner in between the tackles, and had enough speed to get outside. So, again, condolences and prayers to his family, friends, and also to Steeler Nation for the passing of a great one in Franco's army. And interestingly enough, what people don't talk about too much is kind of was a guy that did some blending of the races, because him being both African American and Italian American, a lot of people forget that he had a huge Italian American contingent, and they used to have the flags called Franco's Army. So yeah, man, that was he really was a groundbreaker. Yeah, big kudos to him, and he will in fact be sorely missed. All right, a little bit more NFL before we shift to the Falcons. Hold on a second. I got you, Todd. I'll get D-Led's question up in just a second. Just hang tight. All right. Real quick, what do you guys think about Tua back in the concussion protocol again? I mean, is this now, Tyrone, you played, I'm sure you played with guys that had multiple concussions. I mean, how dangerous is this? Because I think this is the second time he's been in the protocol this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we know that the football game is it's a brutal game. You always want to protect your mind, your brain, protect your body, period. We just hope that, he gets the best observation from top doctors that, can advise him the best. But I'm pretty sure Tua is thinking about, his future. Again, you don't want to do anything to mess with that brain. That's why they say, you look at the animal kingdom, and the first thing that they go for when the prey is about to attack the predator, or the predator's about to attack the prey, they go for the neck. So that's where everything is, the importance of the body. So hopefully Tua make the right decisions, and he has a lot of talent to do a lot of other things. It's just unfortunate that it's in a situation, where you're messing with your brain or your head. So you really got to think long and hard when you start, mess with the brain. So wish him the best, and hopefully everything works out.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, concussions are a scary thing. Scary thing. All right, D-Led, Todd has a question. He says, is the London fumbling becoming an issue? And says, I guess he had an issue with this in college. I wasn't aware of that, but as we're saying, what are your thoughts on London and his fumbling?
Yeah, he's got to work on his ball security. I don't know what you do on that second one on Marlon Humphrey. I just saw the replay again today. I mean, he's got the ball wrapped up tight. He comes in and punches it out. So I don't know. You turn your back to him. I don't know how you secure that ball, but you know they're coming to swing at it. Didn't know he had a fumbling issue in college. Algier was the one that had the fumbling issue in college that we reported on. But Drake's thing is he's a tough guy. He's going to run the tough routes. He's going to make the contested catches. Now he's got to hold on to the contested ball. I don't know how you work on that as a receiver. We know Rondé Barber had the or not Rondé Tiki had the fumbling problem with the Giants, and they just had him carrying it high and tight. But a receiver in traffic, you're just supposed to put two hands up around it, tuck it, and maybe get down. Or if you're going to power through somebody, make sure you don't, you hold it tight with both hands. That's how we teach it in Little League. So I know he's learned that much about it. But yeah, that's something that he's got to, he's going to get the ball a lot for the Falcons. So he's going to have to take care of it.
Trae, questions or comments for Mr. D. Orlando Ledbetter?
Well, I have a comment. So the Falcons are 5-10. What is your analysis of what they need to do these last two games, since we know that they're out of the playoffs, just to stay afloat?
Yeah, I want to see the quarterback continue to play. I want to see if he can spread the ball around a little bit better. I need to see some touchdown passes. Mostly everything's on offense. You can't really do much better on, defense. Try to play some man-to-man, but we know what that's going to look like, especially against Tampa Bay. I like to see some sacks, some pass rush, everything that they've had problems with this year. Man-to-man coverage, getting after the quarterback, stopping the run. At least with the run, they're making people grind it out. They're only giving up 4.42 yards a carry, and that's 17th in the league. I mean, they're getting the yards, but they're making them go slow. So that's why the points are down, on the defense. They've given up, 17, 21, 19, and 19 the last 4 games. Now you just got to build on this passing attack, because you've been able to run the ball this year. And going forward, you got to be able to, put some passing with it, 200 yards a game and a couple touchdowns with it. Then you might be on your way here.
Do you think that most of the players are checked out? Do you think that it'll be hard for them to do these things, or?
It'll be easy to tell on Sunday. They're playing the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are not very good either. They're 4-11. So if they check out, it'll be this Sunday. They won't check out in the last game for Tampa Bay. That's just, they gotta play them twice a year. That's a respect thing. So they're pros. They're gonna be up. I don't expect them to check out. They played about as well as they could play this year, they played pretty hard. So I don't expect them to stop playing hard just because they not going to make the playoffs. A lot of these guys are playing for spots in the league. They know they're not going to be here next year, but they want to put something on tape to maybe impress some of the other teams that are going to be looking for, some of the talent that is going to not be on the roster next year here.
I tell you what you do if you want to tell whether or not they don't check out. You go and look in their garages. For all them dudes who stay in Florida, stay in Texas, stay in California, go check their garages. If they driving rental cars for the next couple of weeks, not their real car, they already checked out.
I'll check the parking lot tomorrow, Ty. See if I see a bunch of rental car, bunch of hurt stickers.
They don't check out.
Push that time on, they gone, huh? All right, let's go to social media one more time. Todd says, D-Len, I'm worried about coach's blood pressure with these bad calls. Question, can you take him to a bar? The man's about to blow a gasket, LOL.
No, he's good. He just wants a team that, wants to get his team to where he can play through some of those ref issues. Right now they need every call they can get. And, they missed a call, and he was right there. He saw it, so he's gonna let the refs know. But the refs wasn't gonna never admit to the mistake they made, and we had to call the league office to get the pool report, and they gave us some, basically said it was incident. I read the rule about if the defender affects the thrower's arm motion and the ball doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage, you pull up the intentional grounding flag. That's what coach think happened. The ref said, nah, he was just dumping the ball, and the contact was incidental, which is not in the rules. So they're just trying to justify their calls. Coach is trying to not get fined, and I don't think I need to take him anywhere. I think he knows where to go. He's a grown man.
Yeah, and the other call, of course, I know why he was flipped out. The other call was on the first down play at the end of the game, where clearly Ritter had a first down when he slid, and they actually took the ball and moved it back about half a yard. I mean, that was just, I'm surprised the guy didn't club the ref on the field right then and there, man. 'Cause that was one of the most egregious calls I've seen. Even when he replayed it, even when Arch was doing the play-by-play, he couldn't contain himself.
And the non-catch on Mikael Pruitt. I talked to Walt Anderson after the game, the replay official for the pool report, and he said that ball hit the ground. And so I'm like, okay, we can see that angle. Well, which angle was that shown on that ball hit the ground? And then on Monday, I told Coach, I was like, hey, Coach, Bill Vinovich, that was the crew who blew the Saints-Rams game. And, I covered that one. Because the Rams were coming, the winner of that game was coming to Atlanta for the Super Bowl. So when I told him that was Vinovich, he started laughing. He couldn't believe it. But now he knows that, you got to study some of these refs. And, some crews are better than others. You would think with a game against Baltimore, fighting for a playoff berth, they'd have a good crew on that game, and they clearly didn't. And I think coach is going to probably ask not to get this guy ever again. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it definitely was some very interesting play calls there to make sure that the Falcons season, at least for the playoffs wise, would stop in Baltimore and leave it there. So, I don't know. I mean, let me ask this other question. I know it's only 2 games, but what would he have to do to make you think that he could legitimately be a franchise quarterback, so the Falcons would have to be maybe potentially looking to draft another quarterback next year?
Yeah, I'm not. I think that's a pretty high bar. I don't know if you expect to get a franchise quarterback in the 3rd round. I think you want to see if he can function in the NFL. Can he run the offense? Can you put up 30 points a game? And you got to put a lot of talent around him. So, I don't, a couple people have made it out of the 3rd round as quarterbacks. Dak, Russell Wilson been the latest here in the last couple of years. I was looking up Colt McCoy's stats because that's who they might play. Colt McCoy was a 3rd round pick in Cleveland in 2010, and he's been pretty much a backup. He's only started 36 games. So is this guy, can Ritter be Dak or Russell, or is he going to be Colt McCoy? So you're probably going to be back in the quarterback game next year, no matter what, whether it's a veteran or you're picking 6 right now. In the draft, people I see, Bryce Young is the only one gone by 6. And so you'll have your pick between C.J. Stroud and Levis, or the pass rusher Miles Murphy from Clemson. There's a possibility for him also. So I need to see him score touchdowns. I need to see him beat Arizona and compete with Tom Brady in the final game before I make a decision on, whether he's the quarterback of the future or not.
Well, there it is. That's the big question for the Falcons. I think if they have to draft another quarterback in that slot and bypass a potential edge rusher, that's going to be a problem. I mean, I just think that the way the team is constructed, the way they can run the ball, I think Ritter can just give me a little more, because he was pretty good this second game. What was it? I think like 22 of 33. I think a couple hundred yards, no picks, right?
Yeah, no picks in both games. 22 of 33 for 218, 85.2. A lot of that's empty yards after they got down 14-0. So I don't want to see him keep getting down 14-0. And then at least he was functioning. I want to see the game I want to see him in a competitive game where they're trading scores and competing, not falling behind 14-0 and then start having to throw it around to get back in the game.
Yeah, I
I
just
feel about Desmond Ritter. This is where, like, myself, I say, um, maybe he should have gotten an opportunity sooner. You know, because I'm a firm believer that greatness is not found in the first round. We've seen a lot of first round picks that don't pan out, and we've seen a lot of guys drafted later in the rounds of the NFL draft that turn out to be great. And I think it's all the mentality. I think it's all the confidence. That is what makes greatness. It's the confidence. And I think the more you give someone an opportunity to be surrounded with other confident people, whether it's coaches and players, I think you produce greatness. Greatness produces after itself. And I think that's why you see a lot of players who don't do well on a particular team that doesn't have that mindset of greatness. And then they go to another team and people are like, what in the world happened? How come they couldn't do it here? I think it's the mindset. So I think, Desmond Ritter, we all agree that, he had that mindset, so to speak, when he was in college. My thing is, man, get a guy, should have given him an early opportunity. So now it's like he's putting pressure on himself probably to go out there and perform versus to say, okay, I'm in the driver's seat. Let me learn as I go. Plus, I would say that the Falcons knew that they were in a rebuilding stage, man. But they just caught fire for a little bit. But now, reality has set in. Now you try to push Ritter in, and now we're like, okay, well, we don't know if he's the guy. So we may have to draft somebody in the first round, a quarterback. Well, what's going to happen? The same thing going to happen again? You got a guy coming in who's going to be up under pressure. So the only difference is next year, do you take and start that quarterback from day one to see what you got? I think they should have done Ritter like that. I think what's that? The quarterback in Pittsburgh, the Steelers. I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna pick it. He's gonna end up being a pretty doggone good quarterback because he went through those rough patches and he kind of learned on the job. So again, everybody had their different opinions, but like I said, I've seen it happen. I know everybody can say, well, Peyton, he's a different beast or whatever, but still, he started as a rookie. He probably threw more interceptions than he did touchdowns.
He did.
But still, yet, he had the mind around him, whether his dad was helping him, but I was right there hands-on. I saw how the coaches they actually rallied around Peyton and kept his mentality going. Okay, and Bruce Arians, a great quarterback coach for Peyton. So I think it all starts with the coaches, man. The coaches, and you gotta, instill that confidence in that guy. Get him to throw passes that he feel comfortable with, man, and build up that confidence. And maybe you get another Tom Brady. I don't know.
Well, all I'm gonna say is, finally, someone has agreed with me saying that doggone just put the guy in before. That's what I've been saying. They should put him in after they had that mini break when they had the I think they played a Thursday night game and then had they didn't play again till the following Sunday, about 10 days. That's when they should have put him in. Because what I think is that by the third game, which would be now, I think that this guy would have been balling out. And he would have been a tremendous, tremendous asset when you can get a guy that can give you 225 yards when you can run it for 150, 160 yards. Now, don't get me wrong. I know they might not have been able to run at the same clip because he's not Mariota, so he's not as big as a threat to run the ball. But I just think that a lot of those, those crazy passes D-led where they were sailing 18 feet over, Kyle Pitts and stuff like that, I think that my man would hit them. And I think the Falcons would still be in the hunt for the playoffs. That's right, playoffs. That's what I'm thinking.
Just can't let it go. Let me show you something. You see
Oh,
that?
hold. Let me get the full screen. Go ahead. There you go. Yeah.
Your Falcons are 5-10.
All right, stop right there. Okay, see where they were. What were they? 4-4. Right there, they were. Yeah, 1, 2, 2, 3, 2 and 3. Yeah, right there. that game after the Panthers, where they had that little extra time, I think it was there. They should put him in, because I think he could have won that San Diego game. Excuse me, Los Angeles Charger game.
Mm,
Anyway, all that being said, we'll never know now, will we? No.
no, we won't.
So, all right, before we wrap it up, Tree, I know you have other placards you want to show us here because you have other teams.
I do. My Detroit Lions. We see that my Detroit Lions are 7-8. We lost this past game, and that hurt, losing to the Carolina Panthers. And we have my Minnesota Vikings, who have clinched the division at 10-3. Woo! Skull Vikings. That's a record right there. 10-3.
How about them Vikings? Well,
How
Tree
about
is very
the
happy.
Vikings? And how about Jonathan did not think that my Detroit Lions would have a better record than the Atlanta Falcons this year. Watch out there now.
What about them Jacksonville Jaguars?
I know. There, look, I'm watching because I know you and Ty think they're gonna have a better record than my Detroit Lions. I don't think so.
Hey, Jacksonville still hanging in there.
They are. They're
Dylan, I want to ask you a
good.
question. Are we seeing a change in the guard finally in the star-studded quarterback realm? It looks like the old guard might be kind of cashing out here. Brady's had a mediocre year. Rodgers has been suspect. I know he doesn't have the weapons he used to have. Russell Wilson looked like he got lost in Denver. So are we seeing the new group of quarterbacks really kind of taking this thing over with Mahomes and the kid out with the Chargers and even to some degree Lamar Jackson when he comes back, and Josh Allen in Buffalo.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts too.
Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. That's right.
Also.
Yep.
But yeah, you're definitely seeing mobile quarterbacks who can run it a little bit. And, Herbert's can, he can do it too. He can move a little bit also. But, they're guys that can make plays from the pocket. That's important in the NFL. And, so we're seeing some of those new quarterbacks take over. Trevor Lawrence should be in there too.
That's right. Todd's got one last question. He says here for you, D-Led, he wants to know about Marcus. Do you think he quit on the team?
Yes, I do. He quit on the team. He's not there. He took his ball and went home. I don't care. You can, I guess they had a kid, but Jake Matthews had a kid, and he flew back on a plane to get to the game and played in the game on the day the kid was born. So that's not an excuse. I think he just needed his own personal mind space away from the team. He had failed again in the league, and he just wanted to go home and take care of himself. Now he could have helped the kid out. They wanted him to stay and help out. But, he elected not to do so. He does send them texts and everything, but, that's not the same thing. And contrast it with cornerback Casey Hayward. He's at practice every day. He travels to the game. He blew his shoulder out, has a pec surgery, and he's back with the team, back working out, training, travels to the game with the team. So, that's what you used to see, and that's what you want, especially somebody that's under contract for the next year. You should be with the team, even when you're going through rehab and so forth. And he's not with the team, and there's no way to sugarcoat it. He quit on the Falcons and told him to, he took his ball and went home.
Yeah, contrast that to our former quarterback who's had his tremendous ups and downs with Indianapolis. I thought he was going to play much better. He has not. The guy's been benched twice and now actually relegated to the number 3 slot, and no hissy fit. Now, of course, he's making a whole lot more money, but no hissy fit from Matt Ryan, being a true professional. No shade thrown, nothing about, hey, you brought in an amateur coach. Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah. I do have to give Todd a shout out. You were right, Todd. I was wrong. I just want to say that because I thought he was going to go to Indianapolis and show out, and
So did I.
And it was the complete opposite. So, Todd, you told me so. I just want to say that.
I got a question for 2 questions, or 1 question, or 2 questions about 2 different quarterbacks. Do you guys think they will give the MVP considerations to Jalen Hurts? And my second question is, do you consider Zach Wilson a bust at this point?
Yes and yes for me, Tyrone. I like Hurts. I think the voters will recognize him. It may be between him and Josh Allen. And yeah, the Zach Wilson kid should not have been playing. We were talking about whether Ritter should have been playing. His footwork is clearly not up to par. His the annex he got away with at BYU don't work in the NFL. They should have developed him, but since they drafted him, they felt they had to play him. And that's when kids aren't ready to play, don't draft them that high. You got to develop some of these players. And I always point to the old school way of doing it. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years behind Brett Favre. Going back to Bradshaw, Cliff Stout sat behind him. In the 70s and 80s, where we weren't in no microwave, social media, fast-paced society, boom or bust, you took time to develop players and you showed patience. The NFL doesn't allow for that anymore. And so we're seeing guys getting ran out on the field before they're ready to play.
What you think?
Yeah, go ahead, Tyrone.
No. What do you think about the question? You think Jalen Hurts, they're going to give it to him? Because I agree with D-Led. I think they should give it to him. They're the best player. But they all saying that it's not Jalen Hurts. It's the talent that he's surrounded with. I'm like, what quarterback doesn't perform well when they have talent around them? But of course, so do you think they'll give the MVP to Hurts and also Zach Wilson? What's your thoughts about him?
Well, I think it's kind of a mockery if they wouldn't. If he doesn't get it, he should certainly be a close second. I mean, what can you say? The guy has taken a Philadelphia team and basically put him on his shoulder. We saw him starting to develop last year. We saw a little glimpse of it in the Falcons game. His game has went up 200% in terms of his balance between his running and passing. And yeah, of course, every guy, a great quarterback needs that guy. You need that wide receiver, that guy that that if I put that ball out there, he's going to make a play. He got that with Brown. Yeah. And as far as Zach Wilson, I'll be honest with you, I drank the Kool-Aid. I was one of them guys. I saw him, the clips from him at BYU. I saw the stuff from the combine, and I said, doggone, this guy's release was just so fast. And he had such a gun. And he seemed like on top of that, he was mobile. He seemed like he was the prototypical new NFL quarterback, a guy that could run enough to get out of trouble, to extend plays, and had that rocket arm. And I thought coming from BYU, again, I didn't do the back study, shame on me. I thought the guy, hey, BYU, how much trouble can you get up there? But evidently, he was a wild man. And like I said, he had some personal issues that I think disrupted him. Yeah. I just think, man, some of the off the field shenanigans, and one I'm not gonna keep mentioning because it's been mentioned enough. I'm thinking once you do something like that, bro, things are not gonna go well for you. You just get yourself into a world of trouble, and evidently it spilled out with a terrible attitude, especially when you're talking about I'm not gonna take any blame for a loss. I mean, you can't do that as a quarterback in the NFL. You can't do it. So, is he a bust? Could be a very expensive one too for the Jets. I think he was drafted number 2 overall, wasn't he? Yeah. So,
yeah.
Tree, what do you think?
I definitely think that yes, he should be considered for MVP. He's playing great, and I do hear where people are saying, "Oh, it's the people around him. He's not that great." Well, whatever it is, he's the one that's leading the team to the best record in the NFL. And I think he definitely should be rewarded for it. And great, phenomenal quarterback. So, yes, he is phenomenal. And with Zach Wilson, unfortunately, I do think he definitely needs more training and more work. It's just like what D-Les said. He didn't get that time to really get developed. I'm hoping, though, it seems like he's trying to do all of the right things so that he can be that franchise quarterback that is needed for his team. And unfortunately, I don't even know what you were talking about, Jonathan, with the things that happened off the field. I haven't heard anything like that, but I did hear his comment about where he was not taking ownership of the losses and thinking that it was other players and not himself. And everybody knows when you're a quarterback, when you take the win, when your team wins, you say it's the other people that played great. And when you lose, you take ownership. And he should have learned that before he even stepped on the field for the first time.
All right, well,
Who's gonna tell Miss Trae to Google Zach Wilson, mom,
mom's friend. Yes.
Wait, comma mom, comma what?
Mom's friend. He would probably say he was caught up by a cougar. Let's put it to you like that. And I just think that you can't be doing that. I mean, anyway, yeah, I think she's Googling too.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Friend.
Put mama's friend or mother's friend. You can't do that. If you do gonna do that, you gotta keep that reaction was priceless. She was like, "Oh, he did that, did he?"
Hey.
Oh man, that was worth all the money right there, buddy. Right there. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, you can't. Nah. I get it. I get it. That's how it works. What's he saying here?
We get ready to end the show, right? I just got a playoff question. How far you guys think the San Francisco 49ers will go?
Ladies first, Trey. I'll let you answer that one first.
You're on mute, D-Led.
Yep. You're probably to the championship game again.
I'm 49ers, my dark horse as well. So, yeah.
San Francisco. I'm thinking San Francisco Eagles and the Eagles to the Super Bowl.
The 49ers defense is stout. I mean, that's the thing, man. Their defense is just, not all them guys are back. It's a good thing the Falcons didn't see that 49ers team, but they would have been around the building. Yeah, these guys are stout, and they found a diamond in the rough. I mean, who knew? Mr. Irrelevant would come in there and sling it around. But see that what that shows me is, and we didn't really understand what we had until the whole Roddy White and everybody tripping with him not getting the ball. I mean, as much as he's a snarky guy, as much as I think he's arrogant, Shanahan's a bad man, bro. That guy he can coach some offensive football, and he can coach up quarterbacks. I mean, that guy, I don't know what he's saying to the ears of his quarterbacks, but that guy, he's a bad man.
I'm going to tell you something else. I believe the reason why the quarterback playing good, you still got those veterans. Now, I don't know about how many veterans hang around with the Falcons, but I bet you those 49er players currently, I bet you they see the likes of Jerry Rice come up in there. I bet you they see the likes of Running Lott come up in there and just say something to them. So that's what I'm saying. That's that mentality. When you put on this 49ers uniform, you got history you playing with. Like the Minnesota Vikings, them guys can come back and talk to. You guys are playing with history. You can't go out there acting a fool. So I bet you, if I was a betting man, Jerry Rice, them players have said they've listened to Jerry Rice talk about the 49ers mystique. And that's what they playing off of, man. See, that helps your coaching staff. But again, I'm just talking hoop.
No, you're right. You do get the players going back talking to the other players, letting them know, hey, we're all rooting for you, riding for you, giving them that advice. And it makes a big difference, Tyrone. It definitely makes a big difference, especially when these younger players realize, hey, this is a legend that's talking to me, a Pro Football Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever play the game. It matters.
Well, it's got to mean something if the guy that's considered the GOAT still at this age wants to get one shot to play 1 year with the 49ers because that's the team he grew up watching. So, yeah, that's it. Last thing you'll get from Todd, he said 49ers win it all. 49ers win it all. Kyle wins it all. Depends on if Bosa returns. Yeah, I mean, like you said, Shanahan is snarky as he is, man. That guy can coach.
I'm rooting for the Vikings.
I'm
rooting for the Vikings.
Well,
I like the 49ers too.
Right, because your husband played for them too. That's right. All right.
Hey, real quick, maybe the Falcons make a trade for Trae Lance and bring Trae Lance here to Atlanta. What about that?
Oh, Shanahan not doing that, bro. Yes. There's no way Shanahan would give the Falcons any kind of love. That much I can tell you. That's not going to happen. But I tell you what will happen. You know, guys, when we wrap our show up, we want to make sure that you know how to find out more about our guests and our co-hosts. So, Mr. D. Orlando Ledbetter, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Reverend. You can find me on Twitter at DOrlandoAJC, on the Instagram at DOrlandoLed, and AJC.com is our website. We hope you subscribing and getting your episodes of the Bowtie Chronicles podcast. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, sir.
He hit it!
He led. Thank you, led.
Come on, D-Man.
All right. Mr. Tyrone Poole, the floor is yours.
I'll tell you what, I want everybody to go to TyronePool38.com and go click WTT Body Sculpting Workouts. All right. Very easy. You're looking to get in shape, tone up, condition. Go to TyronePool38.com, click WTT Body Sculpting Workouts. All right. Proven workouts, proven exercises from a proven professional. Wow. So appreciate it, Jonathan. Thank you, Trae, and everybody watching and listening. Blessings to you.
Appreciate you, Tyrone. God bless. All right, Miss Tree Dolman, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I just want to say happy early New Year's to everyone. And I have to wish my mother a very happy birthday. Her birthday is on New Year's Eve. She has turned in 70 years old. I love you, Mom. And I do just want to say for all of those who are going out for New Year's Eve, please do not drink and drive. Ride share, taxi, whatever. Do not drink and drive. Save your life and save other lives. You can find me on all social media at Purple Diva 13, or as D-Les says, the Gram. And also Ms. America International 2022.
And the Queen has spoken. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up real quick because we are over our time. Again, want to just encourage you to please check us out. Follow us anywhere on social media. The show at Real Talk Sports, the number 7. You can follow me personally at Minister J Sim. That's Minister, the letter J, followed by SIMM. Remember, you can contact us if you want to sponsor the show, you want to support the show. Hit me up with an email, jsimmons@realtalksports.net, or simply call me up on the cell or text me at 678-410-9833. All right, guys, we are wrapping up. This is our final show of the year. And as we get to the end of the year, I want to ask you, if you do not know the Lord Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, I'm going to tell you, please, ma'am, please, sir, get to do that today. He loves you. He died for you. And more importantly, he rose from the dead. And if you repent of your sins and believe that, 2 wonderful things happen. Number 1, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number 2, you become an adopted child of God with all the rights therein. That means you can now go to God as a loving parent, ask him for anything that you need or desire, and he will grant it to you according to his will. And if and when you die, you go to that wonderful place called heaven where there's no bad people. Its sun is shining all the time because the glory of God illuminates the whole kingdom. You never get old, you never die, and you get to be around God and Jesus Christ and see them face to face. And you avoid that nasty place called hell, where all the things that are in heaven will not be in hell. It's dark, it's dreary, bad people everywhere, and you're cut off from God, Jesus Christ, and all the people of love forever and a day. I don't know about you, but I like option number 1 instead of option number 2. All right, guys, I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, and hopefully you will have a wonderful new year. Until next time we see you again, you know how we do it. God bless you, and have a wonderful rest of your day or evening, whichever may apply. So long.